Hi everybody and welcome to a new episode of Solo Chogokin and Z! Siamo Raki Korako here in New Zealand, of course, and we're going to visit this fantastic place. After a short trip by boat, here we are. Since New Zealand is an island and geotherms are created in a volcanic area, here we are at the volcanic island of the Dr. Hell. So we are on Bardos Island, here in New Zealand. We also have the David Throat. It is here where Dr. Hell lives and strikes all his attacks to the world with his mechanic beast. This magnificent place at the beginning of the 19th century was populated by Maori community, attracted by hot springs. Here we also have two of the largest geysers in the world, but drowned in the lake. One of these geysers was the Orakaikoroako, which precisely gives its name to the region. Here are the mud pools, beautiful place, but also very dangerous. Also here we have the Ruotopu cave, one of the only two caves in the world known to exist in a geothermal field. The caves extends for 45 meters to reach the hangar where Koji Kabuto finds the Mazinkaiser. No, Mazinkaiser! In fact, today we are going to talk about the GX75 Mazinkaiser. So let's not waste the time, roll the video!
Don't give up. Yurugi naki chikara wo tadaeta.
Let's start from the box of the GX75 Mazinkaiser from 2017, take from the 2001 series Mazinkaiser. We had already seen the Mazinkaiser GX07, take from that series. And if you haven't seen both the Mazinkaiser series or my series on the GX07, I suggest to give a look on it. However, the box is not in line with the DC because it's not a dynamic classic. The model, it is in the center in a beautiful three-quarter pose, and in the background are half lengths of the model in dim light with a symbol on the chest lit up like the eyes. I must say, very beautiful image. On the right we have an inscription that says, "More powerful than a god, who defeats even the devil." We remember the Koji grandfather say, "With Mazinger Z you can become a god or a demon, but with Mazinkaiser you are more powerful than a god or a demon." Above we have the Solo Chogokin logo with the 20th anniversary such as GX70, the GX70D, the GX70CN, the GX70VS, the GX73 and the GX74, all released in 2017. Below we have the logo of the anime Mazinkaiser and the dynamic green sticker. On the side we have the name of the product in the center with the model with a sword in a dim light, and on the other side the same information with an image similar to the cover one. Above the model with a long Kaiser sword bigger like the box. Below another image of Mazinkaiser with a Kaiser blade, as we'll see a very different sword. Let's turn the box and we have several images with some information like this model was built like the various Metal Builders series. Let's see the image better. We can simulate the connection of the Kaiser builder, the Kaiser Scrander on the model or on the display. Several icon poses take from the anime such as the one for the Kaiser blade, the giant missile, and the pose for the Turbo Smash Punch. Let's open the box. We have the robot, two Kaiser swords, the wings for the Kaiser Scrander, two small wings for the Kaiserschrander, the body of the Kaiserschrander, one Kaiser blade, two wings adjustable for the Kaiserschrander, one display dynamic classic, and the various accessories for the display. Let's move on to the instructions that are in black and white, as we saw in other new models such as dynamic classic. Inside we find all information how to assemble the various parts and how to operate it. Nothing new, as we haven't seen in other models. The instructions are combined with a booklet all in color. The cover image is the same as the box, with very interesting information on the Mazinkaiser, as originally Mazinkaiser was created for the 1997 Super Robot Wars video games series as the evolution of Mazinger Z, while in the series released later is the successor of Mazinger Z. We have the various model of the Kaiser spin-off, I mean Mazinkaiser of course, the Mazinkaiser OAV and half-length film from which this model is taken, the various weapons with an interior blueprint of the robot, and the making of the GX75 model, and the black cover with the other image taken from the box but without the illumination of the eye and the symbol on the chest. Let's move on to the display, which is in fact a dynamic classic display, even if the model is not a DC series. Obviously this is a new display standard for Bandai. We have the name already applied. We can remove the various anchor point for the dynamic stand-up. Let's add the classic stand-up adjustable. We can add the pincer to hook the model, or we can insert the stand-up directly to the model with additional part. Let's add the dynamic stand-up, it is more versatile. Since the display it is a dynamic classic, we can open it and find other accessories such as a set of open ends, a set of closed ends for holding objects, a set of closed ends with a different inclination for various objects, two parts for the display, one to attach the scrander to the stand-up and the other to attach the model directly to the stand-up. A second face with the eyes switch off, one Kaiser pilder in flight mode and the other one to insert to the model. Two swords endless for the shoulders, an extension to hook the Kaiserschrander to the model, and a part to simulate the exit of the Kaiser blade from the chest. Let's move on to the Kaiser pilder. As I said, we have one in flight mode and one in docking mode. I must say that the flight mode version is very beautiful, full of details, but with a blue cockpit, so without the possibility to see Koji inside. Unfortunately, we see where the mold was joined. The colors are similar to that one on OAV series. The version that attached to the model, on the other hand, was just cut immediately after the cockpit, so all the articulation part that we see in the series is missing. It is pity, it is short and ugly, more than other Mazinger pilder in the same setup. Let's compare the various pilders. Let's start with that one GX07 of the same series, and we see that the over pilder is much larger than the Kaiser pilder, especially the cockpit and the material they are made are different. Let's compare the Kaiser pilder with the jet pilder of the GX70, and here too the cockpit is not in proportion, but the material is similar. Let's see in comparison with the Brian Condor of the GX02R. The cockpit is more proportionated between the two models, even if the Kaiser pilder is smaller, and we note the docking version is much shorter. It is a pity. The last comparison is with the GX73 SP, very similar to what we already saw with the GX02R. The big difference is the material and the large cockpit. Here is a view of the various pilder all together. Absolutely, the GX07 is not in scale to the other pilders, but also the Kaiser pilder is not in proportion with the others. it is too small. Here we are, the Kaiser Scrander. We have two types of wings, one fixed, which is the one for the flight mode, and the one can be positioned, which is the one for the standing model. Let's add the fins to the Scrander body and add the wings with the joint. I must say, these wings are huge and heavy, with beautiful body coloring. On the back we see the exhaust with the many details. We can rotate it and fold the wings. I will say that the wings are so large, I'm scared to breaking everything. I have the feeling that they are very fragile. We can see in the body we have the attachment that indicate which wing should be inserted in which side. In fact, the wings has two different holes, one smaller and one larger. Let's go and see the Kaiser Scrander with very nice and fixed wings. Even these are very large one. And we can obviously extract the attachment for the robot. Let's see the two wings compared and see the difference. One in a flight position, the fixed one, and the other in landing position, those at the joint. Let's make a comparison with the wings of the great Mazinger of the GX02R and see how big this immense Kaiser Scrander it is. Let's attach the wings in the stand-up. We need add extra part that we found it in the display, and let's attach the wings. Let's move on to the robot. Here how it's come out from the box. Let's add the Kaiser peel there. Obviously connection is a fiction and this docking mode has been created like we see in other models, especially the DC. We have the second face to change, but on this Mazinkaiser you have to remove the head to replace the face with the eyes on. Let's have a look at the model from all angles. This magnificent Mazinkaiser, it is big and heavy model with a lot of details. Let's go and see the joints. Let's start with the very articulated legs. Knee, feet and heels are articulated. The pelvis has some movement. Lot of joints in the shoulders, arms, elbows and fists. The head's rotated but doesn't have too much up and down movement. Because the back of the head is too big, we can also move the breastfire, are very articulated. We can rotate it or detach the antennas to simulate the glacial ray. Since we start talking about weapons, here we can simulate the turbo smashing punch. In fact, we can detach them. We can remove the front cover to expose the gigantic missile, which should be huge, and instead look like a Chihuahua missile. However, this solution by Bandai to remove the cover, I don't find it great, not too much stable. We see the simulation of the Kaiser swords come out from the shoulder. To simulate this, we need to remove the upper part of the shoulder, remove the internal part and add the extension part we find in the display, and remove everything once the sword it is in the Mazinger Kaiser hands. Let's see the simulation of the Kaiser blade, also changing the ends. Very large. Here too we have two various parts to put together to simulate the output of the Kaiser blade. You have to remove the symbol on the chest, detach the handle from the blades and add it in a symbol that we can find in the display, and insert everything on Mazinkaiser. Let's make a comparison between the blade and the swords, which are two smaller. You have to remove the lower part to insert to the ends. Let's have a look closely. Very beautiful blade. Remind me a bit a Thundercat sword. We see one of the two smaller swords, but also here full of very beautiful details. Let's add the Kaiser Scrander. We have two methods to hook it. We can remove the top panel and attach the Kaiser Scrander directly to the robot, or remove the lower parts and add the red extension that we find in the display and attach the Kaiser Scrander. Obviously, in this setup it's easy to move rotating wings. Let's see the wings on the model. The wings are huge, crazy. Let's see the wings on the model attached directly to the Mazinkaiser. Spectacular. And see the difference between the fixed and the articulated ones. Let's compare the Mazinkaiser with the GX07 Mazink Z. Obviously both come from the same series and we see the difference in size. The Mazinkaiser is very big, even if I have some doubt about the size of the head. It is very proportionate to the body, but not in proportion with that one of Mazinger Z and the Pilder. We add the GX70 Mazinger Z, it is more or less in line. And finally, we add the great Mazinger GX02R. In this case, the Tameshi Nation 2016, maybe the Mazinger Z is off the scale. As we have seen in the GX07 review, this Mazinger is the tallest than all the other Mazinger Z. We add the GX73 SP, but the Mazinger Z GX07 is always too big. Here we are, the final parts with the price and the final comments. Of course, 2017 model, that price was at the time of the release 22,000 yen, 310 New Zealand dollars, about 170 euros. Today you can find this model at more or less same price. Very beautiful model. This for now is the only solo Chogokin Mazinkaiser that Bandai released, while we have more versions for the Super Robot Chogokin line, always by Bandai. Anyway, I will not be surprised a version with a color close to the anime. We know Bandai is good at recycling product. Like I said, it is very good product, even if I must say some parts are very painful. Yes, when you change the ends, the final part of the blades in the arms are very sharp. There is a note in the instruction that tells you to be careful because they are very pointed. Thanks Bandai! The major flaw of this model for me, it is the technical solution for the gigantic missile. Especially the panel does not remain attached, so it is very easy to lose it. The last negative point, in my opinion, is the Kaiser Pilder. That's like the possibility of transforming it to connect to the model. This was the first transformable Pilder of Mazinger, and here not represented. It is a pity, because it could be done more. Maybe add a third transformable Pilder. Anyway, however, this Mazinkaiser is very nice, absolutely to have it in collection. For today, that's all. We will talk to the next time with a series that was supposed to be a 5-episode series. Instead, it will be 3 episodes dedicated to Hong Kong, always here at Solo Chogokin and Z.